The broader context around Zebec right now is increasingly defined by its positioning within institutional and regulated financial frameworks rather than by short-term price movements or speculative narratives. There is a growing expectation that Zebec could be included in exchange-traded funds that focus on digital asset payments or decentralized finance, and this expectation is framed specifically within the current year. This is not being discussed as a hypothetical far-off scenario, but as a realistic development that could occur in some form. Inclusion in any ETF structure would represent a material vote of confidence, not only in the token itself, but in the underlying payment infrastructure Zebec has been building. These types of investment vehicles typically require a higher standard of operational maturity, compliance alignment, and demonstrable real-world use, and Zebec's consistent execution through 2025 is what places it within that conversation. The project has continued to deliver regardless of market conditions, reinforcing the perception that it is being built as infrastructure rather than as a short-term trade. Everything you hear on ZBCN today is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing in this video should be considered financial advice, investment advice, or a recommendation to buy or sell any asset. That execution becomes clearer when looking at Zebec's strategic focus on expanding beyond a single blockchain ecosystem. Payroll streaming was never designed to remain isolated on Solana, and this year represents the first concrete phase of extending that functionality outward. While Zebec cards are already active across 19 different blockchains, the next stage of growth is focused specifically on payroll deployment on payment-centric networks. The confirmed starting point for this expansion is Stellar. Zebec has been working with the Stellar team for several months, and an official announcement is expected in the coming weeks regarding the launch of Zebec Payroll on the Stellar blockchain. This development is not just an additional chain integration, it directly connects Zebec's real-time payroll system to Stellar's established remittance network, which has been purpose-built for cross-border payments. The implication here is that Zebec is positioning payroll streaming within existing global payment corridors rather than attempting to build isolated solutions from scratch. In parallel, the XRP ledger has been identified as another network that aligns naturally with Zebec's long-term objectives, with a more concentrated focus planned for 2026. Zebec's engagement with Ripple is not speculative. The teams have been in active discussions for much of the past year, particularly with Ripple's RLUSD group. As a concrete first step, RLUSD has already been integrated across ZBCN cards. This integration serves as foundational infrastructure rather than a headline announcement, allowing stablecoin payouts to function within Zebec's existing ecosystem. From there, the stated objective is to bring real-time payroll streaming to Ripple's network. This initiative has been described as one of Zebec's major priorities, with careful coordination around timing and implementation to ensure it is launched correctly. The emphasis has consistently been on execution quality rather than speed. The scope of these discussions extends well beyond Stellar and XRP. Zebec has confirmed that it is currently in talks with several additional blockchain networks, with legal departments actively working through documentation. This indicates that these conversations have progressed beyond early exploration and into formal preparation. Once the Zebec Super App goes live, the project intends to accelerate the onboarding of new blockchains. The stated objective is to operate as a connective network that links multiple chains together, allowing users to access payroll and payment services regardless of the underlying blockchain they choose. Within the Ripple dialogue specifically, this includes stablecoin payouts via RLUSD, stablecoin streaming functionality, and potential cross-border payments using XRP. Much of this work remains under development, but the structure of the discussion suggests a comprehensive approach rather than a single isolated use case. From a market structure standpoint, there is a clear disconnect between the scale of Zebec's operational activity and its current valuation. Comparisons to Ripple arise frequently, particularly around acquisitions, partnerships, and the pace of infrastructure development. Despite these parallels, Zebec operates at a significantly smaller scale in terms of market capitalization. With a current market cap of approximately $287 million, compared to XRP's multi-billion-dollar valuation, Zebec is roughly 500 to 700 times smaller. This disparity highlights how much of Zebec's execution and expansion has yet to be reflected in its market price, even as the scope of its initiatives mirrors those of much larger networks. Zebec's behavior during periods of market stress adds further context to this imbalance. During sharp, rapid drawdowns across the altcoin market, where many assets declined between 70% and 95% within a short time window, Zebec reportedly fell by around 40%. Relative performance of this nature suggests a holder base that is less reactive to panic-driven volatility and more aligned with the project's longer-term outlook. Assets that demonstrate this type of downside resilience often require less recovery during subsequent market rebounds, as they preserve more structural demand during periods of stress. As of the latest data, Zebec is ranked 136 out of 8,946 active cryptocurrencies. The network's market capitalization stands at approximately $287 million, with daily trading volume around 13 million. The holder count is reported at 90,820. Performance metrics show the token roughly flat over the past month, up approximately 20% over the last week, and up about 6% over the last day. Zebec remains unlisted on Coinbase and Binance, though this absence has not materially slowed development or partnership progress. Taken together, Zebec's trajectory reflects a project that is prioritizing execution, interoperability, and institutional alignment over short-term narratives. The expansion into Stellar, the ongoing work with Ripple, the integration of RLUSD, the focus on multi-chain payroll streaming, and the forthcoming Super App all point toward a consistent strategy centered on building durable financial infrastructure. Rather than reacting to market cycles, Zebec continues to position itself as foundational payment plumbing designed to operate across chains, networks, and market conditions, with progress measured in integrations and functionality rather than headlines.